everyone. Welcome back to GOSPEAKLY English Podcast. Oh my goodness, I am so pumped for today's episode. This is Sophie here, and I've got the most amazing topic lined up for you all.
And I'm Daniel. Sophie, you look way too excited right now. What's happening?
Okay, so here's the thing. Yesterday, someone asked me, what are you doing this weekend? And you know what I said? I said, nothing much, just the usual. And then I thought, wait, that sounds so boring. I mean, I actually have some fun stuff planned, but I made it sound like I'm just gonna sit at home and stare at the walls.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's actually so relatable, though. I do the same thing all the time. Someone asks about my weekend, and I'm like, oh, nothing special, even though I'm literally planning to go hiking or try that new restaurant downtown.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today, my friend. We're talking about how to talk about your weekend plans. And not just talk about them, but sound exciting, sound interesting, sound like someone people actually want to hang out with.
Yes, because let's be honest, weekends are precious. We all look forward to them, right? So why do we make them sound so dull when we talk about them?
Right? And you know, in my 9 years of teaching English, I've noticed this pattern again and again. Students know the grammar, they know the words, but when it comes to talking about their actual lives, their weekend plans, their fun stuff, suddenly everything sounds flat and boring.
That's so true. It's like the energy just drops.
Yes! So today, we're fixing that. We're going to learn how to make your weekend plans sound as exciting as they actually are. Whether you're going to a wedding, whether you're just chilling at home, or whether you're trying something totally new, we're going to make it sound good.
I love this. This is going to be fun.
Okay, so before we jump in, if you're new here, welcome to GOSPEAKLY English Podcast. This is your home for learning real, practical, everyday English. No textbook nonsense, no boring lectures, just me and Daniel having real conversations about real life.
And if you've been with us for a while, you know how we roll. We keep it fun, we keep it simple, and we make sure you can actually use what you learn.
Absolutely. Now, here's a tiny favor. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us so much, you have no idea. And subscribe if you haven't already, because we're dropping new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Fresh content 3 times a week.
And drop a comment too. Tell us, what's your plan for this weekend? We actually read all the comments, and we love hearing from you guys.
All right, enough of that. Let's get into it. Daniel, are you ready?
Let's do this.
Okay, so let's start with the most common question in the universe. Someone asks you, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Now, most people, and I mean most people, they give the most basic answer ever.
Let me guess. Nothing much?
Yes. Or they say, just relaxing, or I don't know yet. And listen, there's nothing wrong with those answers. They're conversation killers.
True. It's like the conversation just stops right there.
Exactly. So here's the first tip. Instead of saying nothing much, give details. Even small details make a huge difference.
Okay, give me an example.
All right, so instead of saying, oh, nothing much, you could say, well, I'm planning to catch up on some reading. I just started this really interesting book about whatever the book is about. You see the difference?
Oh, wow, yeah. Suddenly it feels like there's something to talk about.
Right? Well, let's say you're actually not doing anything special. You're literally just staying home. You could say, honestly, I'm looking forward to a quiet weekend at home. Maybe cook something nice, watch a movie I've been meaning to see.
That sounds so much better than just saying nothing much.
It does, because now the other person can ask, oh, what movie? Or what are you going to cook? The conversation continues.
I love that. So it's not about doing something crazy or expensive. It's about how you describe it.
Exactly. You nailed it, Daniel. It's all about the delivery.
Okay, so what if someone actually has boring plans, like I'm doing laundry and cleaning my room? How do you make that sound interesting?
Great question. Okay, so here's the trick. You add your feelings or a little twist to it. Instead of saying, I'm doing laundry, you could say, Ugh, I've got a mountain of laundry waiting for me, but hey, at least I'll finally have clean clothes again.
Oh, that's smart. You're making it relatable and a little funny.
Yes, or you could say, I'm tackling my messy room this weekend. It's been a disaster zone for weeks now. People appreciate honesty, and they also appreciate humor.
True, true. And honestly, everyone can relate to messy rooms and laundry piles.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about when you actually have exciting plans. Let's say you're going somewhere fun, like a park, a cafe, a friend's place, whatever.
Okay, yeah. How do you talk about that without sounding like you're bragging?
Good point. So the key is enthusiasm without overdoing it. You want to sound excited, but natural. So instead of saying, I'm going to the best cafe in the city and it's going to be amazing, which sounds a bit too much,
Yeah, that's a bit over the top.
right? Instead, you say, I'm checking out this new cafe downtown. I've heard really good things about their coffee, so fingers crossed it lives up to the hype.
Oh, that's perfect. You sound excited, but also chill about it.
Exactly. You're inviting the conversation, not shutting it down. The other person might say, oh, which cafe? Or let me know how it is.
Love it. What about plans with friends or family?
Oh, that's easy. People love hearing about social plans. So if you're meeting friends, don't just say, I'm hanging out with friends. Give a little context.
Like what?
Like, I'm meeting up with some old friends I haven't seen in ages. We're probably going to grab dinner and just catch up. Should be fun.
Nice. That paints a picture.
It does. Or if it's family, you could say, I'm heading to my cousin's place for lunch. It's her birthday, so there's going to be cake and chaos.
Cake and chaos. I like that.
Right? It's specific, it's warm, and it gives the listener something to connect with.
Okay. What if you're doing something alone, like going for a walk or working out?
Great question. Solo plans can sound really appealing if you frame them right. So instead of saying, I'm just going for a walk, you say, I'm planning a nice long walk in the park. I need some fresh air and time to clear my head.
Oh, that sounds peaceful. I want to do that now.
See? That's the power of details. Or if you're working out, you could say, I'm hitting the gym on Saturday morning. Gotta keep up with my fitness goals, you know?
Yeah, that sounds motivated and positive.
Exactly. Now, here's something important. You don't have to share everything. If you want to keep it vague, that's totally fine. But even vague answers can be interesting.
How so?
So let's say you don't want to tell someone your exact plans. You can say something like, I've got a few things lined up, nothing too crazy. Probably going to take it easy and see how the weekend unfolds.
Oh, that's nice. It's mysterious but friendly.
Yes, it keeps the door open without giving away too much.
I'm learning so much already. This is gold.
We're just getting started, my friend. Now, let's talk about vocabulary because the words you choose make a massive difference.
Okay, hit me with some good words.
All right. So instead of always saying, I'm going to, mix it up. You can say, I'm heading to, I'm planning to, I'm hoping to, I might check out.
Oh, those sound way more natural.
They do. And instead of saying, it's gonna be fun, which is fine, but a little basic, you can say, it should be fun, I'm looking forward to it, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, those have more personality.
Right? And here's another one. Instead of saying, I'm staying home, you can say, I'm having a chill weekend at home. I'm taking it easy this weekend. I'm enjoying some downtime.
Ooh, I like downtime. That sounds fancy.
It does. It's a great word. Downtime basically means relaxation time, time off, time to recharge.
Got it. What about when you're not sure about your plans yet?
Oh, good one. So instead of saying, I don't know yet, which sounds a bit lazy, you can say, I haven't decided yet. I'm still figuring it out. I'm keeping my options open.
Those sound so much better.
They do. Or you can say, I'm playing it by ear, which means you're being flexible. You're not making solid plans. You're just going to see what happens.
Playing it by ear. I love that phrase.
It's a great one. Very natural, very common. Native speakers use it all the time.
Okay, so we've covered the basics. What's next?
Next, we're diving into specific scenarios, real-life situations where you need to talk about your weekend plans. And trust me, this is where it gets really practical.
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, part 2. Let's get into real scenarios. Because knowing the theory is one thing, but using it in actual conversations, that's where the magic happens.
Absolutely. So what's the first scenario?
Okay, imagine you're at work or school and it's Friday afternoon. Everyone's wrapping up and someone casually asks, "Hey, any plans for the weekend?"
Classic situation.
Super classic. Now, here's what usually happens. People either overshare or undershare. They either give a one-word answer or they tell you their entire schedule minute by minute.
Yeah, both are awkward.
Totally. So the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. Give enough detail to be interesting, but not so much that you're overwhelming them.
Okay, show me. How does that sound?
Sure. So someone says, "Any plans for the weekend?" You could say, "Yeah, actually, I'm meeting a friend for brunch tomorrow, and then Sunday I'm just going to take it easy. What about you?"
Oh, that's perfect. You answered, you shared, and then you asked them back.
Exactly. That last part is key. Always bounce the question back. It keeps the conversation flowing and shows you're interested in them, too.
Love it. What if you're talking to someone you don't know well, like a neighbor or someone at the gym?
Good question. With people you don't know well, keep it light and friendly. You don't need to go into personal details. So you could say, "Oh, nothing too exciting, just catching up on some errands and maybe watching a movie. How about you?"
That's safe and polite.
It is. And here's the thing. You can adjust based on how they respond. If they seem chatty, you can add more. If they seem rushed, keep it short.
That makes sense. Read the room.
Exactly. Now let's talk about when you're actually doing something cool. Let's say you're going on a trip or you're attending a concert or you've got tickets to something special.
Ooh, yeah. How do you talk about that without sounding like you're showing off?
Great question. So the key is to sound grateful and excited, not boastful. Instead of saying, "I'm going to this amazing concert and it's going to be the best night ever."
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Right? Instead, you say, "I'm actually going to a concert this weekend. I've been looking forward to it for weeks. It should be really fun."
Oh, that's so much better. You sound excited, but humble.
Exactly. And if someone asks for details, then you can share more, but don't dump it all at once.
Got it. What about when your plans fall through? Like you had something planned, but it got canceled.
That's the worst, right? But it happens. So if someone asks about your weekend and your plans got canceled, you can be honest about it. You could say, "Well, I was supposed to go to a birthday party, but it got postponed. So now I'm just figuring out what to do instead."
That's honest and relatable.
It is, and people usually respond with sympathy or suggestions, which can lead to a nice conversation.
True. What if you're doing something unusual or unique, like, I don't know, volunteering or taking a class?
Oh, I love those kinds of plans. Those are naturally interesting, so you don't have to try too hard. Just say it with a bit of enthusiasm, like, "I'm volunteering at an animal shelter this Saturday. I started doing it a few weeks ago, and it's been really rewarding."
Aw, that's sweet. And it makes you sound like a good person.
Well, yeah, but the point is, unique plans are conversation starters. People will usually ask more questions.
What about romantic plans? Like if you're going on a date?
Ooh, good one. So this depends on who's asking. If it's a close friend, you can be open, like, "I've got a date on Saturday night, wish me luck."
Hee hee, cute.
But if it's a coworker or someone you're not super close with, keep it more general. You could say, "I'm meeting someone for dinner on Saturday. Should be nice."
That's smooth. Not too much information, but still friendly.
Exactly. Boundaries are important.
Okay, what about when you're doing absolutely nothing? Like your weekend plan is to do nothing at all.
The ultimate weekend goal, right? Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Rest is important, so own it. You could say, "Honestly, I'm just planning to relax and recharge. I've had a busy week, so I'm looking forward to some downtime."
That sounds totally valid.
It does! And most people will respect that. Everyone needs rest.
True, true. Now, what about common mistakes? What do people mess up when talking about weekend plans?
Oh, great question. Okay, so mistake number 1, being too negative. Like someone asks about your weekend and you say, "Ugh, I have so much work to do. It's going to be terrible."
Oof, yeah, that's a downer.
It is. Even if you do have work, try to frame it more positively. Like, I've got some work to catch up on, but I'm hoping to squeeze in some fun too.
Much better.
Right? Mistake number 2, being too vague for too long. If someone's trying to make conversation and you keep giving one-word answers, it kills the vibe.
Yeah, that's awkward for everyone.
It is. So even if you're naturally shy or introverted, try to give at least 2 sentences. It makes a big difference.
What's mistake number 3?
Over-explaining. Like someone asks a simple question and you give them a 10-minute answer with every tiny detail.
Yeah, nobody asked for your whole schedule.
Exactly. Keep it balanced, answer the question, add a little flavor, and then move on.
Good advice. What about using the wrong tense? I feel like people mix up future tenses a lot.
Oh, yes, that's a big one. So when you're talking about weekend plans, you usually use going to or the present continuous, like I'm going to visit my grandma or I'm visiting my grandma this weekend.
Both are correct?
Both are totally fine. Present continuous is actually super common for future plans. Native speakers use it all the time.
Good to know. What about will?
Will is more for spontaneous decisions or predictions. Like, if someone invites you to something right then and there, you might say, sure, I'll come. But for plans you've already made, stick with going to or present continuous.
Got it. That clears up a lot.
Good. Now, let's talk about some bonus phrases that make you sound supernatural.
Ooh, I love bonus content.
Okay, so here are phrases native speakers use all the time. I'm thinking of, like, I'm thinking of going to the beach if the weather's nice.
Oh, that's good. It sounds flexible.
It does. Another one, I might, like, I might grab coffee with a friend, but we haven't confirmed yet.
Casual and natural.
Yep. Here's another. I'm planning on, like, I'm planning on finishing that book I started.
Love it. Give me one more.
Okay, last one. I'm going to try to. Like, I'm going to try to wake up early and go for a run.
The classic try to. We all say that and then we sleep in.
So true. But yeah, these little phrases add so much naturalness to your English.
This has been such a good episode. I feel like I'm already talking better about my weekends.
That's the goal. And listen, here's a little challenge for you all. This weekend, when someone asks you about your plans, use at least one tip we talked about today. Add details, use interesting vocabulary, ask the question back. Just try it and see what happens.
Yes, and then come back and tell us in the comments. We want to know how it went.
Absolutely. We read every single comment, so don't be shy.
All right, I think we've covered everything, right?
I think so. We talked about the basics, we covered real scenarios, we tackled common mistakes, we gave you killer vocabulary. Yeah, I'd say we crushed it.
We really did. This was fun.
It was. Okay, so before we wrap up, quick reminder, if you enjoyed this episode, smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with a friend who's learning English. Trust me, they'll thank you.
And remember, we are uploading fresh episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Daniel.
And this has been GOSPEAKLY English Podcast. We'll see you in the next one.
Take care, everyone, and enjoy your weekend, whatever you've got planned.
Yes, and make it sound exciting when you talk about it. Bye.
Bye-bye.